Hey guys, welcome back. It's been a crazy week. I just signed a 10-day SPA 2 days ago, 3 days ago, which means that I have 10 days to play, 10 days to be on contract, 10 days to play in whatever games we have coming up. So my contract was dated as day 0 was Monday. So I have 10 days from day 1. That's how that works. The first day you sign it is day 0. The next day is day 1. My day 1 was our travel day, which meant I went to New York with the team, which was so fun. We won our game against New York. It was unreal. The vibes were high. The girls were grinding. We just had an overall awesome team win. So that was so fun to be a part of for my first game of the year. So yeah, I just wanted to take some time to talk about what exactly is a reserve and how is our situation different? What do we do differently? Do we travel? Do we not travel? What's our salary like? I definitely want to answer all those questions because I find that it is kind of gray. Like nobody really knows, and I feel like I have a really good understanding of it now after being on reserve in Boston last year and then being on reserve in Ottawa. I kind of want to dive into that and then just hopefully answer some questions for everybody. So a reserve is basically just a scratched player. Essentially, instead of having a roster of 25, which we do technically with reserves, like NHL, where they can just play whoever's going that night, whoever's playing well, whoever's practicing well gets to go in the game. We have a roster of 22 with 3 reserve players. So that means we're basically just scratches because we do everything the exact same as everybody else except for travel. We can't travel, which is like, that's like, I hate that part because I just want to be with the girls all the time, you know? But basically, yeah, reserve is just a fancy way of saying you're scratched. And that's fine. But it does come with different complications, which are reserves don't make a regular salary. So by being on reserve, technically you're a spare or backup. So you're only making 15K, which is a lot different than the minimum of like 36, I think it is this year. So with that, it is harder to live in your city that your team is in. So you'll see it on a lot of different teams. Like New York is really expensive, so it's hard for girls to stay there on reserve because they're not making enough. I'm lucky enough that one of my teammates offered me to live with her family, which was the kindest thing anybody's ever done for me. I think that's really important to know, that if you want players to stay in your hub, it is quite difficult. But if you have like really awesome teammates like I do, then you might get lucky. Last year in Boston, I actually stayed with family there. So that's how I was able to stay in Boston on reserve, because I wasn't making enough to live in Boston. Boston is just as expensive as New York. So it is quite literally impossible to live in a city off of $15,000 a year. Along with that, you also don't get any benefits. So you don't have any like health benefits. Like I think you only get covered if something happens on the ice. But other than that, like you don't have any benefits. There's no benefits. Something that people don't really know about being on reserve is that you can actually get picked up by any team. I could be in Boston and then a team could call me the next day and be like, oh, we need you, have an injury. And anybody in that reserve pool is up for grabs. That's how I got to Ottawa in the first place, because I was on reserve in Boston and then I got picked up in Ottawa after an injury. So that's how I landed here. We saw that happen once this year. A Toronto defense went to New York. So it's not uncommon, but it is another nuance to the situation. I don't think it is mandatory for reserve to live in your market if it's not reasonable for you. So you can go home, you can live wherever you want and still train and then just be ready to go when you get called upon. For me, I think that would be really hard. I think not being around the team is really difficult. Being asked to play a game after not practicing with your team all year would be so hard, because that's where you build all your relationships. You build trust. You build trust with the coaching staff. You build trust with the support staff. The girls, like, you kind of like you want to be there. Ideally, you want to be there, but I understand it's not that simple for everybody. If you're fortunate enough to live in that hub, like obviously that's the best case, but it's really not feasible for everybody. Like 15K is not a lot of money, so I think it's more just like this is enough to get you by for training and all that kind of thing, but you're really kind of just expected to figure it out. As far as day-to-day goes with the team, we do everything the exact same. We train with the team, we skate with the team, we eat the same meals as the team. The only thing we're not doing is traveling and playing. But yeah, so oftentimes reserves are doing more too. Extra conditioning, extra cardio, like extra weightlifting. When the girls are having an off day, like we'll go in and train. So it really just depends on, like, this is personal, obviously, to my situation. I don't know if it's unique to my situation, but this is what I'm doing. When I'm not playing, I'm doing extra. And that's because I want to be ready to go whenever I can go. So there's like different ways, obviously, that you can get in the lineup. One is getting a 10-day SPA, which is what I just got. So that means you have 10 days in that time frame, whatever games fall, you're eligible to play in those games. And that doesn't mean you're going to play every game. Like, you could still get scratched, but it just means that you're called up for those 10 days. And if they want to put you in, they can put you in. The other way you can get in is with LTIR. That means long-term injury reserve. So if there are injuries on your team, you can get called up, and it doesn't necessarily need to be a 10-day contract. Like, if you don't know how long the injury is, like, I think an LTIR is like mandatory, like 21 days or something like that. So in that case, if somebody's on LTIR, then you can actually get signed in that contract. So you can get a standard player agreement, an SPA, for that time period, and then they can decide after that player is activated off LTIR if they want to send you back down, send somebody else back down, or, and back down I mean reserve, or keep you there. So essentially you want to make the most of your opportunity when you get called upon. I think my mindset is just be the best teammate, play to your ability, and when you have an opportunity, take it. And if people can see that I'm a benefit to this team, then that's the upside for your game, right? Because it is like a difficult situation to be in, because obviously, like, you don't want people to get hurt. Like, I would never wish anybody to get hurt, but that happens. People get injured every game, so you never really know when you're going to be able to go. You have to be ready at all times, and that's why we do the extra conditioning. That's why we're skating when the team's gone. That's why we're in the gym doing mental preparation, talking to our mental strength coach. Like, everything is to be ready for when you get called upon. For me, the hardest part about this role is just not being with the team when we're on the road. I think obviously, like, not playing, like, that's not fun either. My goal is to play and contribute that way, but the hardest part is just not being around the girls. Like, I want to be on the road. I want to be with the girls. I want to know the inside jokes. I want to, like, have fun on the road and win with the team and be there for those moments. So I think that is the hardest part, just starting the season and missing a few games on the road. But I've been very fortunate to have the 10-day and then be able to go to New York with the team, get a win and experience that. And I think that's what makes it worth it to be in this situation. I think that in Ottawa, there's a big emphasis on how important you are as a reserve, because there are injuries. Like, things happen and you need good people and good players to be around you in case that happens. They made it a point of emphasis from the beginning that, like, everybody's role matters, right? Whether you're playing, whether you're not playing. It's not necessarily like a bad thing to be on reserve, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when you're going to go. It's obviously not my goal. My goal is definitely to be on the team. And by being on the team, I mean having an SPA. But I'm still part of the team. It's not that I'm treated differently. I don't get treated differently. I feel very valued. I feel like I have very good relationships with the players, with the coaching staff, with our support staff. Everything from that side of things has been a dream. It just means you're not playing. You're just not playing the game until you are. So it is very gray. But I just wanted to answer some questions, because people don't understand, like, what we go through, what we're doing, and how hard we work to get onto the ice when we do. There are times where people will make reserve and then choose not to take it. And whether that's because you can't afford to live there or you want to get games in somewhere else, that's obviously your decision, and I respect it either way. But I chose to stay in Ottawa because I love this team. I love the girls. I love where we are. I love Ottawa. I love our fans. Everything about it is like best case scenario. When I was told I was on reserve, I was like, well, obviously I'm going to stay. Like, what else am I going to do? I know it's not like that easy of a decision for everybody, and obviously I was pretty bummed that I missed my goal in signing a contract, but I think just being a part of this group is so special, and I want to win with this team. That's the end goal, right? The end goal is to win the cup. So yeah, I guess I just wanted to address some questions, because even if you Google it, like, you don't really know. Nobody, it's not really talked about a whole lot, but it is a unique situation because you're really just a scratch player. You're just not traveling. And I think the most important thing is just being ready to go at all times. Like, this week, I had no idea I'd be playing. And then one day, like, practice, like, you're going this week. I'm like, okay, say less. Like, I'm in. But you never know. At the end of the day, it's just being ready mentally, physically, emotionally, and putting in the work, being a good teammate, knowing your role. Because it's really, at the end of the day, it's not about you. It's about the team. It's about winning. It's about doing things to help your team succeed. And that's why we play team sports. It's not individual. And that's something I really had to learn this past year after going through adversity and not making a contract when I was in Boston and then being on reserve and then going to Ottawa and then making a contract and then being on reserve again. So I think it really puts things into perspective. It's like, it's really never about you. It's about what's best for the team. But that doesn't negate the fact that I do want to have an SP and I do want to help this team. So I'm going to do everything in my power to be the best I can be for this team, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm probably forgetting a ton of things. I did write a list and I think I hit everything, but if you have any other questions, let me know. I feel like transparency on this is the best option because there's not a lot of information on the internet about it. So yeah, if you have any other questions, let me know and I'm happy to answer. But yeah, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I love you guys and go Charge.